I love that. Pause. And thank you, good people, for hanging on to this episode of the Real Leaders Podcast with Melanie Dulbecco. We just hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Now, if you have any questions for Melanie, we have a few people on still. Ask your questions in the chat box there on the right, and I will go ahead and read those questions off for her to answer. But I really like that. I've never had someone say pause. We're always go, go, go sometimes. And I also feel that with the interview too. Sometimes you need to pause and collect your thoughts. So where'd you come up with that?
It's just the way I think about it.
That's just how I think about it.
I think it is always go, 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 go. And we have to disrupt from the way we think about things normally. And that requires a pause, right? And I guess that's something we didn't really talk about, but I think about the pandemic being, aside from being horrifying, it is a time that prompts us to disrupt the status quo and think about things differently. We have to think about business that way too. It's pausing to disrupt the way we think about it naturally, the way we've been trained to think about it.
I love that. Yeah, being calm in the chaos. Another great part of kind of what you all did. And it seems to really show, especially here in 2020. Okay, Olivia just chimed in. Olivia asked Melanie, she asked, going into a new opportunity era, where do you see product innovation going for Torani?
Oh my gosh. Product innovation is such an exciting area for us right now. I wish I could have some of our team talk with you about it. One of the things that we finally figured out is that getting to be a mid-market company, we had to completely rethink the way we did product innovation. Like a lot of companies, when we get started, we have an idea that's working, and then we can extend from it, right? And we're our own customers, so we're passionate about it. We know what to do. And then what you see when you get to kind of a mid-market size is that people start creating new products. They're maybe adjacent or other things, and a lot of times they fail. So a big company, a giant corporation, can afford to do that and do the typical surveys and other things and have few successes. Smaller companies or mid-sized companies can't afford that. We don't have the resources, financial or people's time and energy. So we finally learned that we had to completely overhaul the way we do it. So our team has ushered in a whole new framework around product innovation, which includes looking at different categories. One is product cultivation, which is how we grow and extend from our core lines, whether it's Torani syrups or sauces or smoothies. Then it's transformation innovation. That is using design thinking and principles of design thinking and designing around consumer experience and consumer input. So it's a whole new way of engaging with consumers. And we have a team that's devoted to that. So you'll see things from us in the future that are designed completely differently. That's in the process right now. And then we look at packaging innovation too. So we have these different areas that we're looking at, and we did a lot of study around innovation to be able to finally conceive of a new way of approaching this.
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you all are coming out with.
I hope that was helpful, Olivia.
We got another question flying in from Sade, and she asks, how important is emotional intelligence to you as a CEO?
I love that question. I think emotional intelligence is what's missing from so many. If we're going to be people-centered, we have to understand emotional intelligence. And that's something that we take into consideration a lot in our company when we look at how to hold crucial conversations, how to develop people. It takes emotional intelligence to be able to navigate those kinds of things. So it's something we think about working on and developing and highlighting with our team.
So you mentioned that also in the interview. You were talking about educating and then creating learning and growth to bring them to a new position in the company. What are you really trying to educate them? Are you trying to educate them about the job or about how to manage people?
Well, it varies by person, right? So I think of it, rather than educating, it's about learning, right? And creating people's learning paths. So part of that is through the contribution management process. When somebody sits down to talk about their goals for the year. They sit down with their manager. It's not the manager doing a telling, saying, here's what you're going to do for the year. Instead, it's saying, here's the context. Here's where we're going as a company. Here are strategies. Here are projects. And here's what our team is working on. Then the individual talks about, here's how I could contribute, what I'd like to do. But then at least a third of that conversation is focused on how they personally want to grow, what they want to learn. So maybe they're looking 6 months to a year out. Maybe they're looking 3 to 4 years out. And what we look for is not just saying, well, you have to focus on learning and growth in your current job. Maybe it's somebody like Anjali. She's a good example. She was a rising star food scientist from our team. And in her contribution conversation with Cindy, our head of R&D, she said, I'm really interested in learning about marketing. And Cindy said, all right, let me talk with the marketing team and see if there might be a project. It's finding Anjali then a project that she could be a part of so she'd get exposure to an area she's really interested in. So it's not necessarily about her current job, but it's an area of interest where she can still make a contribution. Anjali, it turned out, applied for a job in marketing and is really successful there now. So she probably would have left the company to find a job like that had she not had it here. But instead, we can cultivate somebody's interests, get them exposure to it, and then create an opportunity like that, right? So we think about development and career opportunity in this framework of 70, 20, 10. 70% you look for, if somebody's interested in something, can you find them an on-the-job way to try it out, practice it, exercise it. 20% is coaching and mentoring, and 10% is formal training. Most companies think about, oh, I'll do training. I'll do this Excel program, or I'll take this marketing workshop. We think that 70% is more important, the 70-20.
Angel, I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm going to take that too, if you don't mind.
No,
from Carol, and Carol asks, what are some ways you get to know your customers?
Oh, wow. Well, we visit them, they visit us. We built this flavor factory to have people come and see us and be with us and have experiences here together. We can't wait to be able to open the doors here because we have more space to be able to do that than we had before. But I love going in market and meeting customers. Our team does too. And there are customers who are cafe operators. There are also customers that are consumers, right? So the way we get to know consumers better is by looking at, all right, who are we designing for? If we're designing for the consumer tomorrow, let's say we're designing for Gen Z, then it's how we identify some people who we can learn from and learn with and engage with them as we consider the way they look at flavor and operate with flavor and what their challenges are, what they're looking for. There's a whole way of looking at that. So it's both at the customer level and partnership level and the consumer level.
Melanie, learned so much today. Thank you so much for taking your time to answer the fan questions. It's been a pleasure having you on. Any last words today?
I guess the last words would be, we are a community of like-minded people. So our door's open. I'm imagining that all of your doors are open too. So we're here to learn and grow together.
That's right, folks. Go on over to Torani, check out that speakeasy. And always, folks, keep it real. Melanie, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.